Good morning, ladies, gents, fellow Nuffield scholars. My name is Paul Fishpool, and my study topic is maximising the efficiency of the UK sugar beet supply chain, sponsored by the Richard Laws Foundation. I would just like to start by thanking a few people. I would particularly like to thank the Nuffield Farming Scholarship Trust for this great opportunity. It's been really, truly eye-opening for me as an individual. I'd also like to thank the Richard Laws Foundation and their generous sponsorship, and particularly Bobby Laws. I would also like to thank British Sugar for giving me so much time and support, allowing me to travel around the world and taking quite a bit of time off work, which was very much appreciated. Finally, I'd like to thank my partner Emily for putting up with me, for supporting me, for being a true inspiration and doing endless proofreading, so thank you, Emily. For those of you that know me, sugar beet is very close to my heart. I am one of those sad individuals, unfortunately. But it's also nice to see a few fellow sugar beet growers in the audience. So good to see you. Just to give you a bit of background to the industry, sugar beet occupies about 100,000 hectares of the UK soils. And that produces about 7 million tonnes of sugar beet, which in turn produces about 1 million tonnes of sugar. Now that is a lot of sugar, a significant amount of sugar. But we need to maximise the efficiencies in this sector, as in September 2017, for those that are involved in the industry know, sugar quotas will go. So they will be no longer, and I know a lot of other industries have gone through that transition. It's now sugar's turn. So we need to remain competitive, not only in Europe, but also the world, because we are now competing on a world stage. The sugar beet supply chain represents significant cost in the production of sugar, and we therefore must continue to improve and to ensure we have a viable sugar industry for the future. So during the last 24 months, and to justify to British Sugar what I have actually been doing, my travel has been based on 5 key areas. Understanding the principles of an efficient sugar beet and cane supply chain from field to factory. It's also about benchmarking the UK industry against other sugar beet and cane growing countries to see how we fare as an industry. It's about understanding new techniques which are used in these countries and what can we adopt from them. It's also about developing and introducing these ideas into the UK supply chain, with the aim of trying to determine how to operate the most efficient supply chain from field to processing site for the UK industry. I've travelled to some of the major beet and growing cane areas in the world, and I've learnt and witnessed some great examples of efficiency, not only in the sugar industry, but avocados, mangoes, lots of other industries as well, which has been fascinating. I went to Australia, and not only was I looked after by some great people, including some fellow Australian scholars, I also witnessed a first-class sugarcane industry, which was highly mechanised and using technology to its utmost. They were so advanced in the use of GPS trackers and in terms of harvest and logistics management systems, it was quite shocking to believe how far the UK was behind. One sugar mill I visited required 7,000 tonnes of sugar cane per day, and for those in the audience, that's relatively small on a UK scale, but that was just serviced by 8 trucks. 8 trucks alone, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Truly efficient. They also didn't put the cane down on the ground, they used bins, so they harvested the sugar cane, put it straight into a bin, then sent it straight to the processing mill. So it never touched the ground, unlike some of our colleagues in the UK. Similarly in Africa, Malawi and Zambia, which weren't quite so mechanised, and for those that you can see, I've never actually seen a 6-person sprayer before, but they were absolutely great. They showed me some great examples of planning, coordination, communication. As most of the cane is burnt in Africa, it's critical that everybody knows what they're doing. Otherwise, the cane can deteriorate and lose sugar. It's also critical that everybody knows what they're doing. Otherwise, they can burn the wrong field, or in some instances they can actually burn the wrong village. So it's crucial to get good communication and planning. Cane is also delivered around the clock in these countries 24/7, which ensures all their assets are fully utilised for as long as possible. All of these cane growing countries understand how important it is to process cane just in time, and a lot can be learnt from these countries' approach. This was similar in Spain, where in the southern part of the country they have to harvest and deliver beet just in time, which is the practice of harvesting and delivering straight to the factory immediately, because they experience temperatures of 40 degrees C, and if they don't, the beet will just deteriorate. They also deliver 24/7 and during the night, because the temperatures are obviously lower. Don't quite have that problem in the UK yet. Slovakia also had some great logistics management solutions, and they're trialling new ideas and pushing their industry forward very rapidly. They use tablets in all of their cleaner loaders and all their lorries, which issue instructions of where and when to collect the sugar beet and deliver it to the factory. Although I did also witness that going wrong, which was quite entertaining. I went to America twice and visited 3 large sugar companies out there, Michigan Sugar, American Crystal, and Amalgamated Sugar. And for those that have travelled to America, just everything is big. Again, I saw some great examples of just-in-time harvesting delivery, direct loading, and also witnessed piles of sugar beet with 150,000 tonnes in each. And one of the factories that I visited actually had over 1 million tonnes of sugar just round its factory alone. Again, they were using some advanced technology in terms of monitoring those storage heaps. They were using drones, infrared, and then they would deliver the beet. If they had any hot spots in those particular areas, they would deliver that beet immediately into the factory. Very sophisticated. Again, all their beet is delivered 24/7, using mesh-sided trailers to try and make the lorry and trailer as lightweight as possible so that they can actually maximise the payload that's delivered to the factory. And they were actually delivering about 42 tonnes of sugar beet on every trailer that went into the factory, which is pretty impressive and legal. And again, coming back to the UK, since I started my study, I've tried to trial some new techniques in the UK as well. So loading lorries direct, as you can see on the slide there. I had a few interesting looks from some of the neighbouring farmers, but you can do it in the right conditions and on the right soil type. And actually today we're using a chaser to load lorries direct from the field into the lorry, which we delivered directly to the factory. So, from my travels and study, there have been some significant and sort of globally practiced learning points which I believe will really truly benefit the UK industry. One clear fact is total visibility of the whole supply chain is critical to improve its efficiency. In every country this was witnessed, and this was achieved by installing GPS trackers onto all the equipment that's involved in the supply chain. A harvester best practice programme can deliver significant yielding benefit, and this was experienced in Australia, where the Sugar Research Australia uses sugarcane harvesting lots optimisation tool, which gives growers, harvester operators and millers access to all the information that they need to make informed decisions. And in June 2016, the cane industry received a $5 million grant to Harvester Efficiency Programme to research these methods further. And this grant is making a real difference out there from the feedback at the moment, because they currently get losses of around about 20%, with a target of 5%. They've already reached that 10% target. So again, if we could learn from these examples and bring that back to the UK, if we implemented that, a 1% saving to the UK industry is probably worth about £1.25 million, so significant. In the UK, it's also clear that harvesters and cleaner loaders are underutilised, and again, this is part of my study that I researched this, and different working practices need to be adopted to justify their expense. You know, each one of these machines is worth probably about £500,000, so they need to be running at their maximum efficiency. So to justify this, there needs to be better coordination and planning to avoid them from crisscrossing over from one another. And for those of you in the room that are involved in sugar beet, this does happen on a regular occurrence, and we need to try and keep them in the field harvesting and delivering as much beet as we can. And also we need to start involving people in sharing equipment. It tends to be, this is my harvester, this is my cleaner loader. So we need to start introducing a sharing mechanism so that these pieces of equipment are fully utilised. Haulage is key to the supply chain. And through the adoption of some of the methods experienced on my travels, I think this can be further increased. Improved driver behaviour through training, we heard a lot about training yesterday, can significantly reduce fuel consumption. And in some countries they're saving up to 10% by introducing driver training in terms of monitoring harsh braking, harsh acceleration, harsh cornering. Hopefully they won't put one on my car, but they've been truly beneficial. Operating over longer hours, I've mentioned that quite a bit in the presentation earlier, but again, that's key to be able to run efficiently. It not only reduces the capital costs of the machinery we've got employed, but also gives you better utilisation of all of that equipment. Another key area of which we're trialling in the UK at the present moment in time as well is trying to increase the payload, so the amount of sugar beet that we can actually get onto the lorry. So in the UK, we average normally about 28 to 29 tonnes of sugar beet per lorry load. If we could get that to 30 tonne, that would save at least probably 9,500 vehicle movements per campaign, which is truly, that's very, very significant. Again, if all the beet was loaded directly, this could reduce losses, not only to the actual sugar beet crop, but also could reduce the loading cost as well associated. And when I went to Spain, just-in-time harvesting delivery there is the norm. And again, the benefits in terms of yield and cost saving are significant. Just to sort of continue with the points, backloading of co-products. So all of our sites produce animal feed, topsoil, Limex. And if we could backload these co-products, that could really increase our efficiency. Currently, we tend to employ one haulage fleet to deliver sugar beet, so 7 million tonnes goes that way. And then we tend to employ another haulage fleet to take all of our co-products out. So if we can try and join those two together and get the same fleet of lorries doing the same job, providing we can load the lorries quick enough, that has got to be a step in the right direction. I witnessed a lot of logistics management systems on my travels, and it's been proven that they can improve efficiencies. This is, as I said, been demonstrated all the way around the world, bar in the UK at the present moment in time. And they allow full visualisation of the whole supply chain. And they provide management reports and further improvements to be highlighted. I also witnessed while I was in Australia that growers receive a text alert when the cane harvester is going into their field, so they can actually go and see what sort of job they're doing, make sure that they're harvesting all of the cane that they should be. Also gives them speed, the harvesting rate, all the details that they need to make informed decisions, which is very, very interesting. And it did sort of detail the contractor's behaviour. They were aware that people were watching them, so they did their utmost to do the best job possible that they could. So in summary, the UK sugar beet supply chain is hugely complex. It contains many stakeholders, and some of these need to be encouraged, some need to be nurtured to promote positive change in the industry. Due to all the factors highlighted, it's vital that all our stakeholders engage, otherwise progress towards efficiency will be slow and very difficult. So one last thought for all those involved in the industry. In every area of the supply chain, from field to factory to flume, there is potential of losing significant yield and reduction of efficiency. However, if all stakeholders engage, there is significant opportunity to increase these efficiencies and promote positive change. This is the start of my journey. Thank you.